Hello and welcome to another random review and how-to. Today I'm going to be making pork belly burnt ends. So this is actually a wild boar, but you could do this with regular pork belly if you have it. What I did here is cubed them into 1 to 2 inch squares, keep them nice and thick. Make sure you try to keep as much fat cap as you can on each piece if you have it. This one, being that it was a wild boar and butchered, there are some pieces that just kind of have a little bit of fat on them, but each piece should be represented with some fat. What I did here is I actually put some apple cider vinegar, soy sauce, paprika, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and just mixed it, very light brushing on there. And the reason for that is because over here I got a sauce going, which is 2/3 a cup of soy sauce, about 1/3 a cup, maybe a little bit less, of apple cider vinegar, 1/3 a cup, maybe a little bit more, of honey. I put some red pepper flakes, garlic powder, salt, pepper, paprika, and then I also put a little bit of chili powder because I wanted that smokiness. Again, you can make this kind of like a little Asian infusion. And then for some extra heat, I added a ton, I'll say another 1/3 a cup of Sriracha sauce in there. So I have this going here on the Blackstone, just circling it up there, getting it nice and hot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this pork belly, these cubes, I'm gonna fry them up on here about 5 to 7 minutes on each side until they kind of crisp up. I'm gonna flip them once, let them crisp up again, and then I'll move them over in the hair into this pan, and then this pan's gonna combine with the sauce. And then I'm gonna throw this in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even a little more, at about 325 degrees, just to kind of keep cooking those burnt ends and then thicken up the sauce while it's in there, keep stirring it a little bit, and then we'll be good to go. So let's go ahead and get these put on. Now I'm using my tongs because I want these to really be placed on one flat surface on their own. I want them to really be, I don't want to just be a mess when I put it on here. I'm intentionally trying to cook one side at a time with these. So using the tongs is vital. Takes a little extra time, but just take your time making stuff. That's the whole point. Go ahead and get all of these put on. All right, so I got all my burnt ends put on here. This is the first part of the 5-minute cook. You can see this, just setting this here, it's starting to boil. So as you kind of know your own Blackstone, and they're all different, where are the hot spots at on them? You know, I like to adjust my heat. I got a 2-burner one here, so I like to keep one side super hot. I get them both hot to begin with, but as one maybe gets too hot, I turn it down, and then I kind of have my hot zone and my cool zone. So I'm just going to let these sit here and fry. Like I said, 5 to 7 minutes. What I'm looking for is for them to have a nice char on the back side of them when I flip them. That's what we're looking for here, is just a super hard char on both sides when we're done with it, and then getting it into this pan. So now that this is hot, I'm actually probably going to dump this over to here, get it kind of spread out a little bit, and let it just keep getting hot. You can see how hot that is right there. It's starting to already fry up. So I'm going to turn my heat way down. I'm actually going to take this off the heat and go from there. So I took my sauce off the heat. You can see that it got really hot, and I just didn't want it to burn. That was the key. So now that I know that it was as boiling as it was, I moved it off. Again, we're just finishing this. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the heat on this side up, and then when I flip these, I'm putting them on this super hot surface, because as this surface gets the oil on there, it's actually cooling it down. Now you're still talking super hot, but I wanna have that sear as soon as I put it on. When you have that oil introduced, it doesn't char it as nice as you might like. So use both burners if you can. Okay, I'm going on about 6 to 7 minutes here. You can see that char I got going. So now I'm just flipping them over and putting them back on this hot side. That's exactly what you want. It's just basically 2 sides to be charred, your tops and bottoms. And again, figure out where your hot spots are. Like you see I did here, I had this side completely empty. So I'm just gonna move them back over here one by one. Here they are all flipped. Now the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my scraper, and I'm going to scrape this side clean. And just be careful because it's super hot oil. It loves to splash you. I'm just going to move it back because I'm going to put my pan right here, and I don't want my pan to have all that grease on the bottom because it is going to go in my oven. So go ahead and clean this side up as good as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm probably going to leave it just like that. Scrape all that excess into the hole. And now we're letting these go for another 5 to 10 minutes. The one thing I will say about these now is when you do flip them, they're going to feel stiff. And you're going to say, oh, they're already overcooked. That's part of the point. So as we get them off of here, we put them in our marinade, which I'm going to put back on the heat. Once you put this back in the marinade and you let it cook for another half hour, it's going to break all that fat down even more and kind of super cook it, almost as if you were slow roasting it. But we're going to turn it and it's going to get super soft after that. So don't worry about the pliability of this when you flip it. Another probably 5 minutes here. Again, we want it to look like this on the other side, charred. Then we're going to put it in our mixture. You can see my sauce here is already starting to thicken up just from that little bit of high heat I had it on and bringing it off the heat. It thickened up, but it did not burn, and that's the key. I want this to be like a thick marinade when I put all the burnt ends into it. Okay, I'm gonna pull. My burnt ends are now burnt on both sides. I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing these. You see my marinades just bubbling a little bit, but again, thickening up very nice. We're just gonna go ahead and start grabbing these and putting them in here. And I'm gonna let this cook on this cooktop here for a little bit. Bringing some of that oil in. I'm gonna let this cook on the cooktop for a little bit, and then I'm gonna move it right into the oven. Again, probably a half hour in there. If I'm gonna guess now, just looking at everything, I want them to be in there for about a half hour cooking up. All right. Okay, so I'm just mixing them up, getting them all nice and saturated in that juice, covering them completely, and I'm just gonna let it boil up here and cook for a little bit. You'll know as this cooks because this will start to bubble. You'll see a lot of bubbling coming out of it, and that's when you know it's not only bubbling it up, but it's thickening, and that's the key, because we want this to really be like a thick, sticky, meaty glaze on top of this pork belly as we finish them off in the oven. So I'm just cooking this here. You can see I got it bubbling. You could hear it bubbling. It's thickening up. You can see definitely down here in like these corners how thick that mixture is getting, and that's exactly what I want. It's just to simmer in here. Probably do this. I'm thinking I'm gonna let this go for like 5 to 7 minutes more. I like what's going on here. I like that it's kind of boiling it, and then we're gonna finish it in the oven. All right, so here we go. I'm sticking them in my oven. I'm gonna put them right in the middle top rack. 325. We're gonna let those sit in there for up to a half hour. All right, so we have been in for 30 minutes. I have rotated them and mixed them in here, and now you can see what we're working with. So they're definitely broken down. They're definitely darker, but our sauce is also almost gone. It's thick. You can see there's a lot of oil in here now. So what we're gonna do is just take these out individually like this and put them in a container. Keep the container uncovered so they kind of dry up and they'll get real sticky. And then there you go. Everything's good. The fat's broken down. They're very soft. They're gonna be delicious. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You got questions, comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.